I'm speaking in reference to Trinitarian views. One view is that the Holy Spirit comes forth from the Father and the Son. And the other view is that the Holy Spirit comes forth from the Father, but not the Son. The Son simply sends it. In neither of the views is there an opinion that the Son has its origins, so to speak, in both the Holy Spirit and in the Father. So this is already problematic, disregarding the next two terms. Besides that it means origins, not that he's eternally coming forth, but that he actually originated. That means at some point he wasn't going forth. It's not like an eternal flow. Anyhow, staying on track. The term that they will, there are two terms then at the end of the verse, which they use for evidence or supposedly proof of his deity. The first term they usually translate as of old or of the past, and that word is QEDEM, and that word simply literally means in the past, but often means in the ancient past. The next word is YAMEH OLAM. YAMEH means days of. OLAM very often means eternity. That's correct. The thing is that Olam very often means two things, both eternity and world. Now, when it means eternity, the word Olam will be prefixed with La Olam, or with another term which also is used as eternity. It will be prefixed with Ad Olam. Practically every other time that I can think of when the word Olam is standing by itself in some other context, not prefixed by these two terms. There's one more. Olamei Ad. That also means forever. So when it's without the prefix Ad or followed by Ad, and when it's without La, every time that I recall it means world. So there's no reason why you wouldn't be able to translate this days of the world. And if you look at that literally, all that would mean is from the earliest of times of the world. Again, destroying the idea of deity. But I'm going to give a simple explanation that Christians can easily verify without doing much Bible study and without relying on my own explanations. They can use their own Christian translations to confirm this. The first claim that I will make before showing you this is that YOMEH OLAM, it means days of the world, but this is simply a biblical idiom for ancient times, not before creation, just ancient times. Alright? Now I will give you the proof. This is Micah chapter 5, verse 2, right here. You only have to flip the page. Go to Micah chapter 7, verse 15, and you will find this in English. Well, I don't want to violate copyright laws, so I'll put it in my own words. It's in reference to the people of Israel being restored in the future, and it will say that the Creator will feed his people with his rod, the flock of his possession. Alright? Let them pasture in Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of old. Now, what word are they translating here as the days of old? YOMEH OLAM, the same exact word which they've translated just one page before as days of eternity. So, if this term in Micah chapter 5 verse 2 means that the Messiah pre-existed creation and is therefore the Almighty and therefore should be worshipped, yet again, as in other examples I've given, using the same logic, we must conclude that the people of Israel are also transcending, not transcending, but transcend creation, precede creation, therefore a deity and must be worshipped. Hast b'sholem. Heaven forbid. But it's the same exact word. I'll read to you in Hebrew one more time. Micah chapter 2. It says, Umusol miqadam YAMEH OLAM. And then in Micah chapter 7, verse 14, it says, Yir'u boshon l'r'od YAMEH OLAM. So there we've gotten rid of the problem with days of eternity, if they even translate days. That part of it. I saw many translations which don't. Now the part where they're translating from old or from ancient times, which is the first of the two terms, it's the word QEDEM. Yet again, just turn the page. Chapter 7, verse 20. Titen emeth liYa'aqub. You will give truth to Ya'aqub, to Jacob. Hast la'Avraham. Grace to Abraham. Asher nishba'to la'avithenu. Which you have sworn to our forefathers. YAMEH OLAM. From days of ancient times. From days of old. Again. La'avithenu, to our forefathers. YAMEH OLAM. Micah chapter 5, verse 2. Umusol and his origins. Miqadam. Same word. YAMEH OLAM. I hope from this it is now apparent to you that all Micah chapter 2 is, chapter 5 verse 2 is stating is that though Beth-Lehem was young among the thousands of Judah, out of him will come a ruler. That's the main part, a ruler. And from the commentators, as I saw, there are opinions that this will be the Messiah. What that means and what Messiah it is a different issue. It doesn't really matter. The main point here is the supposed proof at the end of the verse, which now we've shown is baseless in support for deity of the Messiah. And all it means is that he has very ancient roots of renown. Otherwise, everybody has ancient roots. What it means here is that his roots are important or renowned roots, King David and Judah, as it mentioned in the same verse. I mean, it mentions his ancestry. That's why it mentions ancestry, though they're translating it as goings forth. It means ancestral origins, which makes perfect sense in the context of the verse, because it mentions his ancestral origins, Judah and Beth-Lehem Ephratah. I would like you to compare in your Christian translations and see how they translate it. I will give you a few examples of some famous translations. The King James Version, in Micah chapter 7 verse 14, it is not consistent with Micah chapter 5 verse 2, nor is the New American Standard Version, nor is the Amplified Bible, though the Amplified Bible does give ancient times. It puts eternity in parentheses. The New International Version, though usually not so accurate and literal, in this particular instance is, and the Young's literal translation is the best of all of them that I've seen, though its English language is a little bit too antique from days of old for most Christians to bother to use. But the truth is that all translations have ups and downs, and until you take it upon yourself to learn Hebrew, the language of the Bible, until you realize that your belief, if you believe in the Bible, is important enough that you're going to base your life on it, until you realize that that means you shouldn't just be taking people's words because they can deceive you, you can be led astray, even if they don't intentionally deceive you, that you need to take the responsibility upon yourself to begin learning this language so that you won't be Let us drink.